Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and which it stands indivisible, justice for all.
Before I go to order, we're going to swear in some new members, please. Yes, this one. Hi. So you're going to left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jonathan J. Bush,
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe,
and the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe,
and that I will, in all respects, faithfully discharge my duties as a lieutenant of the City of Wickliffe Police Department during my continuance in said office. Congratulations.
And we practice this one here. I am going on slow.
David.
What is your cookie now?
Right hand. Repeat after me. I, David F. Cook,
I, David F. Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe,
and the laws of the Charter of the City of Wickliffe,
and that I will, in all respects,
and that I will, in all respects,
faithfully discharge my duties
faithfully discharge my duties
as a sergeant of the City of Wickliffe Police Department
as a sergeant of the City of Wickliffe Police Department
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations.
Gotta make it official. Hold on. Gotta take my picture.
You guys are, if you want to stay, you can stay. You're free to leave if you want. If you want to take pictures outside or anywhere else. Get some cookies.
We got this for, yeah. Thank you. It's good seeing you. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So glad he was still alive, you know.
You're right.
I'll see you, Phil.
Fairway. No, that was
Friendly.
You know, Ed, I called Joe Paganakis and I said, "Look, we're fixing it." I'm like, "You were first around here when we did it."
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting September 25th, 2023. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella. Yes. Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Koski. Levon.
Here.
Saloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
Approval of council minutes. We need to I'll entertain a motion to allow Councilman Bailiff to abstain from voting on the meeting minutes of September 11th.
Second.
Oh, yeah. Make the motion.
I'll make a motion that we allow Councilman Ballard to abstain from voting on the council minutes of September 11th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Koski to allow Councilman Bailiff to abstain from voting on the meeting minutes of September 11th, 2023. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes. Thielman.
Yes.
I make a motion we accept the council meeting minutes from September 11th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto, that the council meeting minutes of September 11th, 2023 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella. Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes. Thielman.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Council President. So the legislation on there today about the entertainment devices, there was a change made to the legislation as requested, and we'll discuss more during new business. I do want to thank Chief Ice for his many years of service to the Wickliffe Police Department and the citizens of Wickliffe, and I welcome Chief Bush and look forward to working with him in the future. And one of the things I wanted to address as much as I can this year was Green Ridge Golf Course. We own a golf course, taking pride. So three big things. One of the biggest complaints that we receive at Green Ridge is balls. There's a stretch on Larchmont that people get hit with an influx of balls at their houses, and you know, I speak with them and I'm like, you bought a house on a golf course. However, the netting has just deteriorated. The trees took down a lot of the netting, so that was kind of the biggest. I had an outside company give us an estimate, and it was $71,000. It was way more. The biggest reason is because we're placing those poles. Those poles, they're high. We don't get them for free like we used to from First Energy or CEI. So the result, one of the fixing it would be to build a net in front of the trees, because trimming the trees would take away a lot of the buffer for those golf balls. So working on getting poles is going to be an issue. So one of the things that our recreation director and I are looking into is some dividers. The golf course manager suggested putting up something like they have at the Top Golf or at driving ranges, so it would stop the balls before they even head that way. So that was something we're looking into, and I know it seems like a simple fix, but if it was a simple fix, it would have been done by now. So I just want those residents to know we're spending a lot of time trying to address that issue. Councilman Bell, if you do get a lot of complaints, just tell them we are working on it, and these dividers could solve this issue. The service department can address it in-house, but they don't, some of the equipment they need, and again, the biggest thing are the poles. So we're looking into that. And then the last thing is the irrigation. That's the most important thing. Well, Pete's gonna talk more about that, dredging the pond. It's a very expensive thing to do, and this irrigation is going to be an expensive cost, but we are also working to get that done as well. So I just wanted to update everybody. I really want to get that golf course, again, back to that sense of pride, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the mayor or safety director? Councilman Jaworski.
Is it a particular hole that they're having issues with the balls going over, or is it all along that property?
There's, two holes. That hole 2 and 3 right there, teeing off. One of the suggestions was switching the green with the tee, but that'd be a year-long process. That could be one solution, is switching that up. But the main bad area, the biggest one, is that hole 3, right? To the side.
2 green, 3 tee, yes,
Right.
is the biggest area. So the people are shooting onto the green, they're missing it and going over it in the backyards. And then when they're teeing off on 3 green, they're shooting it, they're slicing it into people's backyards. So it's a good many houses, and that, for that pricing for the net, I just wanted to let you know that it's only 300 feet of net. That was, and we need at least 1,000.
So we're trying to come up with the best solution, but without, breaking the bank.
Any other questions or comments from the mayor or safety director? Please, Joe. Reports, communications from the director of law.
Nothing to report. Did have a couple conversations with Sherry about a report that we'll put together, so we'll start working on that for next time.
Any questions or comments from the law director? Councilman Gerhardstein.
How are we on our nuisance ordinance?
So that's correct, and we were talking about the appeals procedure.
The business nuisance ordinance?
Yeah, and we were talking about, I think particularly the appeals procedure was one of the things you wanted me to look into. Yeah, so I'm looking into that. I'll probably give you a phone call this week.
We don't have to throw
I need new pens. Put that in the budget. Actually, I may call you tomorrow.
Okay.
If you're available tomorrow, just to go through. I have all of my notes, what we were going to do. I think I'm good with everything, so let's talk this week.
If we can arrange a meeting, the new police chief would like to participate in a discussion
Sure.
also in that discussion about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do that. I'll reach out to you tomorrow. We'll schedule something this week.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments for the law director? Thank you, Chairman. Communications from the council president. I have none. Any amendments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Bush.
Thanks, Council President. Other than the report that's been submitted to you, the only other thing I have is we've started a lateral entry process. We do have a number of viable candidates that they're doing background investigations on right now. We're hoping at least one of those is going to work out really well, and I hope at least 3 do. We'll see. We're in the process though, and it's looking fairly good right now. And other than that, just in regards to all the speeding complaints we've had on all this, mainly Rockefeller, 300 Street, Talmadge, I think those are the main ones right there. The motorcycle we finally got the motorcycle fixed and it's in operation. The last week and a half, it's been out there a lot. They've been making a lot of traffic stops. We've actually been getting a lot of phone calls and emails thanking us for the traffic enforcement. So that's starting to pick up a lot better now. So hopefully that'll stem a lot of the complaints we've been getting lately. Other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the police chief? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Chief, I would like to reiterate what you just said. I've gotten a lot of compliments and thanks from the residents, thanking that the department is out there on the motorcycle making traffic stops.
Good.
Surprisingly, how happy they are to see somebody pulled over. So that's shocking, but they're good for you.
Councilwoman Sloto.
Yes, so I actually live further south on Rockefeller, and I have been getting lots of thank yous for that speed sign that is directly in front of my house, which is another topic. But people love it, and I appreciate that. And we haven't had a lot of traffic stops, so if you want to send that motorcycle up there too, that'd be a good thing.
I'll let them know.
Love it, yeah.
No problem.
Councilman Jaworski.
Chief, you said motorcycle in particular. Have you found that is the most effective means when running radar?
That's usually the best tool that we have because the motorcycle is strictly out there for traffic enforcement, so he's not getting pulled away to calls throughout, he sits in, when the zone car sits there, he gets called away for a call. He's only able to sit there for 10 minutes, and then he's on his call for a half hour, and then he's got to come back. So he's constantly going to calls. The motorcycle can concentrate for hours strictly on traffic enforcement in those certain areas. So the motorcycle, that's usually our extra guy that we use for that time period.
Okay, the way you said, I wasn't sure it was more vehicle related or personnel related, so I appreciate
Well,
you
it's
clear.
both, because we only have two guys on the department that are certified to ride the motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah. So next 2024, I have another guy slated to go to motorcycle operator school for it. So then we'll have 3. But that's the biggest hangup is I don't have enough guys to ride a motorcycle.
Any other questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, chief. Mayor? you wanna say
Yeah.
something?
He's got to be excused at this point. He's got something he's got to take care of at the police department, but he did want to come here tonight for his first night and give us a report, so thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you, chief. Question? Okay. Acting Fire Chief O'Neill.
Yeah, just to expand on the statistics that I put out there, 53 hazardous calls. I know I touched on it a little bit 2 weeks ago. That's 1/3 of our hazardous condition calls for the whole year, and they pretty much happened in a 36-hour period. That was the storm. I think we ran 61 calls in 36 hours. When you add in the EMS calls and the possible fires that came from those hazardous conditions. Also, exciting news at the fire department. First time since the 80s, we have a female. Natasha West is her name. She's a part-time firefighter. She's working out well. She's been with us for about a month now. We test our part-time employees pretty rigorously, and I wanted to make sure that she was on the right track before I brought it up, and she's there. We're excited. I think she's going to be with us for a while, so that's good news. And on a more personal fire department note, we had 2, I'd say, additions to our extended family. Kevin Igarashi and his wife Kristen, welcome to Healthy Baby Boy, and Don Contento and his wife Rebecca. Welcome to Healthy Baby Girl. So as our family grows, it's exciting to get those kids and watch them grow up, and everything's going well.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief. Finance Director Hunter.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing tonight.
Any questions or comments for our Finance Director? Well, thank you, Ms. Hunter. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. As the mayor alluded to, I have in my engineer's report the fact that I've got some preliminary numbers together and some ideas for the Green Ridge Golf Course pond dredging, and I'd like to see if we could put that in some type of committee to discuss it so that we can maybe get moving with award or putting out the bid. My preliminary estimate's around $150,000 just to dig out the muck in my golf balls and move it over to a spot where I think it might be useful.
Okay. We'll add Green Ridge Golf Course pond dredge to the Finance Committee. It's all about numbers. Any other items on the report?
That's all. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Pete, on the Euclid Avenue streetscape, is that for next year, 2024?
It was on the NOACA's list for 2024 when they sent us the notification that they were funding it. I cannot find it though on NOACA's permanent, decided list, so it's kind of questionable whether it'll be 24 or 25. And that's something I need to look into along with the Ridge Road resurfacing. They've been moving that date around a little bit, so I need to confirm those numbers.
And which side of the street was that streetscape for? Both sides?
It had a couple of variations, Councilman, but it was mostly, I think they thought about skipping the ABB side because of the fact we don't know what's gonna go in there, and predominantly doing the south side of the, up to the church, and then doing both sides up to, extending it as far as.
That was going to be my comment, that I don't think the north side between Bellevue and the INA's entrance would be, right now, would be the best interest in spending that money on that side right there. especially with the property, not knowing what we're doing with that that was gonna be my question. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski?
Pete, do you have any, I realize it's not a city project, but do you have any updates on the State Route 2 bridge over Warden Road? Is that project on target at this point in time?
I believe it is, but I have not talked to them. I think Ron's been in more contact than I have with the contractor, so.
I talked to them, they're still talking November completion, so.
Thank you.
Hey, Pete, on the Drenick Drive sanitary sewer lining, is that something that we're potentially putting on the budget for 2024?
Yes, we have the funding for that, and that's probably another item that we need to get authorized to get moving on, to get plans together for as well.
Okay.
I believe that's in the report as well.
Do we need to have a meeting on that, Mr. Council President? Or?
Well, I don't know what the, I mean, as far as a budget meeting or a meeting on this one specifically?
That one specifically.
Yeah. Additionally, we've been talking with the finance director, we'll be able to use the local share using our ARPA funds to be able to, I believe it was like a $600,000 grant that we're receiving and a $300,000 local share. And we'll be able to use a good portion to pay for most of it with ARPA funds with that we already, a different grant.
Okay, then we're going to put Drenick Drive sanitary sewer lining in the improvement committee. Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Service Director Strouser.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. It's basically, there's one piece of legislation on the agenda tonight as far as buying an additional columbarium for the cemetery. So the way that works is we're gonna do the base for 2 columbariums. The price that I got was for 1 columbarium installed. If we order it now, it'd be installed in the spring anyway. It takes a good 8 months to order one. When we met there with the actual manufacturer and the sales rep, he kind of suggested that since we're going ahead and putting the base for the both of them, to just buy the both of them right now, because he said it's getting harder and harder to match the columbariums to the existing. So if we bought them both at the same time, we bought 2 of them. So I have a different number if you guys decide to change that. But the $30,000 is for that's for the purchase and installation of one of them. If we wanted to change it, and I talked with Councilman Hartstein earlier, just to purchase the 2 of them this year would be $46,560, which would roughly be about a $4,000 savings by buying 2 of them at once, because the installation cost wouldn't double, some of the transportation costs would be less. The actual cost of the columbariums would be the same, but he said they're doing nothing but going up as well. So I just wanted to put that out there, so if you want us to have a change order, that's up to you guys. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the service director? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Just so everybody understands when we're talking about the columbariums, one columbarium for what the city pays for the second as they're sold. So one columbarium unit, when it's sold, it pays for the second one altogether. So the cost is really, and as you and I talked, there was $125,000 in the cemetery improvement fund for 2023, and only $48,000 of it is being used for the parking lot, correct? So purchasing 2 at this moment wouldn't increase the budget for 2023 at all, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Councilman Gerhardstein, can you remind me, is there 24 spots in each columbarium?
48.
48 each one? Thank you.
24 each side, 48 total. And just to give you a heads up, in the last 4.5 years, we sold 24 niches in the last 4.5 years. So we'd be good if we bought 2 of them, then we'd be well set for 10 years easily.
Sure. Councilwoman McCoskey?
That was my question.
Oh, fantastic. Any other questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Ron. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. The only thing I have to add, I've been working on the grants for Euclid Avenue. They're coming in, 6 or 7 of them I got back already, and that's all that is in the process. So it's working out well. And that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Councilman Jaworski.
Ray, Planning Commission trying to remember if it was this year or maybe late last year, we had an applicant come down. It was the old amateur electronics building.
Yes.
And there's been some work done at that site that has gone against the planning commission's recommendations or specifically the trees being cut down. I haven't seen any effort done to replace those or, you know, what's happening with that project, and will they have to come back to planning commission since they've gone around?
I did send a violation to him, citing him on that, and he has to come back to the ARB board for that planting in the front, whatever he's gonna do. So if he doesn't come within the next couple meetings, we'll take it another step.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, so I called Michael Dews as the owner of the building, and I said something to him that, you know, what happened there, and he took down those trees because I get about the planning commission, but he took down because his sign, he wanted his sign to be visible, and his plan is, once the doors open, is to plant bushes and put greenery back. Those trees are out of control, he wanted something easier to maintain. So I don't know if you'd rather him come back for that, or just allow him to do that. So he wanted to get open, have his sign visible, and just take those trees down to put bushes. So I don't know how that, if he still has to come back, or are you guys okay with that? But you know.
He has to come back. You know, he presented us with a plan, this is what I'm gonna do, and that's what he's gotta stick to. So he'll have to come back with a revision plan on it for the architectural review board.
Thank you, Randy.
Any other questions or comments for the building commissioner? Thank you, Ray. Recreation Director Stop is excused. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand and state your name for the clerk's record. Since these meetings are being recorded, she has a microphone that can be used. Each person will have a 5-minute max amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Now I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports? Commissioner reports. Councilman Gerhardstein.
The meeting of the Wickliffe Cemetery Board was called to order on September 12th at 7 p.m. in council chambers by Chairperson Terry Jo Rotundo. The board discussed the planned improvements of the cemetery parking lot. The board was appreciative of all the improvement that the city is doing there and look forward to seeing the final results with the sign and the flagpole installed next year. The discussion was held on the options for what is allowed to be engraved on the niche faces. The board will hold another meeting to discuss further options on engraving once a sample is received from the engraver. The board also discussed the need to order another columbarium as there are only 8 spots remaining on the second columbarium. Columbarium 1 is totally sold. As council representative, I informed the board that I would relay the request for the purchase of another columbarium to the city council. The meeting adjourned at 7:40 p.m. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other commission reports? Councilman Jaworski.
Planning Commission had a second meeting in September. We continued to go over recommendations for zoning and other items along Euclid Avenue per the Economic Development Committee. We will be meeting again on our normal meeting date in the first Thursday of October, and we will have our final recommendations for the Euclid Avenue Redevelopment Committee.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other commission reports? Seeing no old business, moving to new business A, entertainment arcade ordinance.
Okay,
Mayor?
so, hi, everybody. I just wanted to kind of explain something that I didn't explain last time. So the legislation on the ordinance is, I knocked down the number of establishments to 2. The reason why, when I talk to a lot of people that come in here and what they want to do, and I know that we have the school properties, we have the Ponderosa properties, we have things in the works that might bring us some new buildings and new retail and things like that. But right now, in these 2,500 to 4,500 square foot establishments, the only interest in right now is daycares and event centers. Actually, 2 event centers were interested in these locations. The event centers generate nothing for us. They rent out these rooms for people to have parties. I've seen the one over by the Games Plaza and what hangs out there and what goes on. And so not only these adult arcades, they generate a good revenue to us, but they also bring people that are going to eat in our restaurants, coffee shops, and so on. So that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up again. I know I've talked to some of you, and 4, the thought was too many, and I get that. But with the number of 2, to see what you guys would think. But the biggest thing is I don't want anybody to think, so if you guys feel that this is not a good look for Wickliffe, then please, let me know that and let us know that in the vote. But this is people who want to create nice establishments here. Ray is on it. We will have it. We only will allow 2 licenses. It's every year, and they have to. And one of the things I wanted to Councilman Jaworski, I know we had a conversation about state regulations. So they are state regulated if they have this feature on these machines called the next puzzle, right? So if you could see the next puzzle, it takes that game of chance out of it. So we will have that in our licenses that they have to follow state regulations. If they do not follow that and the state goes in there and they don't have one of these features on the machine, then the state can take that out, but it takes our accountability off because they signed on their license that they're going to follow all state regulations. So it's not a shady thing. There are good people that go to them, and it's another amenity. It's another place for our residents and bring residents to. So I just wanted to bring it up again, and if you guys feel that, again, this is not a good look for the city, I'm with you, and that you want to vote it down, I get that. I'm just trying things right now until we get the new development here and get those stores that we want and restaurants that we want, different businesses other than event centers and some of the other things that have been coming. So that's just what I wanted to say about tonight's legislation. So
I just have one other thing on that, Mr. Ordinance. So this is 2023-32. That original ordinance was voted down a couple months ago. Should this be revised or amended? That's what the title should be? Auditor?
I think it's a new,
If it was a new ordinance, wouldn't it fall under a new numerical as in 44, 40, or 47, I guess?
because we just amended the number.
It's still the same on first reading, but should we just title this thing as 2023-32 amended? We did change the number of.
we did.
It's allowed.
I would say we could actually do either way. We could either give it a new ordinance number, or we could do it as amended. Either way would be proper.
I just leave it, I think it amended might be the easiest way, so we need a motion to change it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to change the entertainment arcade ordinance from 2023-32 to 2023-32 amended.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to change the ordinance 2023-32 to the entertainment arcade ordinance to 2023-32 amendment. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Any other discussion on that topic? Councilwoman Sloto.
I just had a quick question. So we're moving this to 2 for the city. So do we already have people that would like to open these 2 establishments? Do we know location-wise, like they're right next to each other on the other sides of the city?
It'd be other sides of the city. So the one location is going to be where the Key Bank is by Sussex. The other location, or the old Sussex, the other location's either going to be kind of down by the Casa Divino or down by, the only other place available is down by Gabe's. That is it. Those are the 2. So it's not that, they're not like next door to each other.
And they're different people or the
They're
same?
different people. That's all part of the license, and Ray can do spot checks whenever we want. They are conditional use, so we have that authority every year, to make sure they're up to par and that, they're doing things as they said.
So what's up to par?
Oh, up to the standards that we want, like, you know, where they're gonna have people if they go outside, you know, where they're,
It'll be what the state requires.
Right.
It'll be a conditional use that we'll write strictly for us that mimics the state.
background
And,
checks.
gives us an opportunity with the conditional use permit. We have a lot of, you know, a lot of power there.
Okay,
And background checks for the employees and things like that, so, you know, we have the right people running these establishments.
okay.
Any other discussion on this topic? If not, we'll move on to ordinances.
All right. Ordinance number 2023-32 amended, first reading. An ordinance enacting Chapter 716 Entertainment Device Arcades of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio. Ordinance number 2023-44. An ordinance levying an assessment for unpaid bills and costs of cutting noxious or poisonous weeds, vines, tree limbs, or grasses growing upon parcels of land in the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Gerstein to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-44 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Gerstein to adopt ordinance 2023-44 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
What time frame does this entail?
It is May through August 23rd, so May through August.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Motion passes, or ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-45. An ordinance confirming the appointment of Jonathan J. Bush as Chief of Police of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio, authorizing compensation therefore and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilwoman Solotra to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-45 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to adopt ordinance 2023-45 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2023-46, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a contract with Brunner Sand and Dietrich Funeral Home for the furnishing and installation of one granite columbarium at the Wickliffe Cemetery and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Gerhardstein.
I'd like to amend ordinance 2023-46 to read 2 granite columbariums not to exceed $47,000.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Jaworski to amend ordinance 2023-46 to read 2 new granite columbariums included at a cost not to exceed $47,000. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-46 amended on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2023-46 amended as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Stillman.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Resolutions.
Resolution number 2023-16, first reading, a resolution requesting the Lake County, Ohio Auditor to make advance payment of taxes.
Other legislation. Councilman Gerhardstein.
I would ask the council president to put back into the legislation on welfare committee I'm sorry, I do not have the ordinance number, the ordinance regarding the OPATA guarantee on the now that it's been brought to light that the city of Cleveland is putting somewhat of a guarantee on their schooling for their patrolmen to go through school, and with a conversation with the new police chief today who now supports it, an ordinance, he would like to change a little bit of the wording in it, so I'd like permission to put that back into committee so we can discuss that.
Councilman, do you want to put it in committee or do you want to put it back on the agenda for next meeting?
Well, I can put it back on the agenda for next meeting. That's fine. I didn't know if you wanted to go back to committee first.
It's purely up to you, Councilman. You tell me what you want to do. You want to talk about it in committee or discuss it in committee, or do you want to put it on the agenda and then discuss it at the third reading?
Well, let's put it back on for the next
The agenda?
Yeah.
Okay,
for the
well,
agenda.
I'll work with the council clerk and have that ordinance put back on the agenda at the next council meeting. Councilwoman Sloto?
Yeah, I just had a question, Councilman Jaworski, with respect to the economic development discussion on Fifth Avenue. So you're gonna have a final recommendation when, at your last meeting, you're gonna prepare that final recommendation?
So
or-
Planning Commission at this point in time has made their recommendation for the actual zoning itself.
Right.
There are some other things that we are fine tuning. I would believe that you'd be looking to meet multiple times on this. It would not just be a one night quick meeting. I mean,
Right.
the Planning Commission spent, I think this will be meeting number 8 for us to talk about these items. I would imagine that just a meeting about the overall zoning along Euclid Avenue and essentially changing or removing the town center and replacing it with general business and what all that entails would be just a meeting unto itself. What council, what Planning Commission is working on is we are working on is fine tuning the I want to say layover is not right. Overlay. Thank you. The overlay district, making recommendations for architectural review for projects. I believe that, and I have to go back through my notes, Councilwoman, but I think that we've also made some general recommendations for the school property. It's my understanding, and Ray, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the schools are not coming for zoning this month, so it would likely be next month.
Okay, so it would be beneficial then to start to have some committee meetings.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so I'd like to call a committee meeting for next Monday.
Yeah, October 2nd,
Yeah.
at 7 p.m.
Yep.
to discuss the Evans Consulting.
Recommendations.
I think it's Evans Consulting updates. Right? Yeah, okay.
Right.
So 7 o'clock, October 2nd, the Economic Development, Euclid Avenue Redevelopment Committee. The topic is MS Consulting updates. Okay. Just to clarify what you said this month, that they're not meeting this month, do you mean
I'm sorry, I meant October.
They're
Yes, thank you. I'm
in
sorry.
November? I just want to make it clear.
It feels like October.
Sure, understandable. Okay, any other legislation? Councilman Jaworski?
To piggyback off that then, Pete, will you be available that same Monday so we can discuss the Drenick, or Ron, I don't know which one of you two would need to be there?
Yeah, no problems.
Okay. And I would like to call an improvement committee to meet immediately following that meeting to discuss the Drenick Drive sanitary sewer.
Sure, we'll have an improvement committee meeting on Monday, October 2nd, to follow the Economic Development. You could have a redevelopment committee meeting to discuss the Drenick sewer project. Any other legislation? Miscellaneous? Councilman Gerhardstein.
I'd like to make a comment about Councilman Jaworski's, about the planning commission's met 8 times. That planning commission has worked, they have a 2-hour maximum, and they have met 8 times and been here for 2 hours a time working on the Euclid. I know I've sat through them all, except one, but they worked extremely hard to this. This is not going to be a one meeting and done on the Euclid Avenue, but Councilman Jaworski's group has really worked extremely hard on this rezoning. So,
Thank you, Councilman. Any other miscellaneous? Councilman Thielman.
I'll chime in too. I'd like to say thank you to Councilman Jaworski for his time and effort on the planning commission. I know he's got some young kids, and it's not easy to be gone from home on a Thursday night and a Monday night and all those other nights, and they have worked really hard. So got some sneak peek information about what they've been working on, so I look forward to council reviewing.
Any other miscellaneous? If not, I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session.
make a motion, we move into executive session.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to move into executive session to discuss both the appointment, employment, or compensation of a public employee or official and the pending or imminent court action. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Seelman.
Yes.
We will take a 5-minute recess.